Practice makes perfect. Learn Minecraft.
Welcome to this coloured pencil tutorial. I'm Summer Martin, a professional colour pencil artist, and in this tutorial we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to walk you through how to draw this textured rhino horn from the Learn My Craft Practice Journal African Wildlife Edition using only one coloured pencil. You can download the reference image and the outlines by clicking the links below. Before we get started, I want to quickly talk about the materials that I'm using. So for this drawing, I'm using just two pencils, the Caran d'Ache Luminance Permanent Red and a Violet Grey just for sketching. The actual colours don't matter for this tutorial. I chose something bright and versatile, but you can pick any colour that allows you to create both light and dark values. So this brand is really soft, highly pigmented, and blends beautifully. I'm working on Derwent Lightfast paper. It's a 300 GSM paper, so it's nice and thick. It can handle lots of layers without buckling or wearing down, and it also has a smooth surface which makes it easier to get clean lines and soft blends with coloured pencil. So you're not fighting the tooth of the paper all the time, and tooth just means texture. It's a great surface if you're still getting used to layering and pressure control, and I'm also using a sharpener, some low-tack masking tape or washi tape, a kneadable eraser, and a Faber-Castell dusting brush just to brush away any excess pencil left on your paper. So the most important thing during this tutorial is to understand the process and the technique. The colour choices and the paper can always be adapted, and picking your own colours is part of developing your style as an artist. So feel free to choose whatever you have and trust your own eyes. Feel free to pause the video at any time and take your time with each step. There is no rush. So let's begin. So first, for this value study, I'm going to start with the rhino horn outline from the Learn My Craft Practice Journal African Wildlife Edition, and that's number 73. So you can also download the outline using the link below. I used a violet grey coloured pencil to very lightly trace my outline, but you can also use a regular graphite pencil. If you do though, just gently rub over your lines with a kneadable eraser so that they're very faint. We don't want dark outlines showing through. The goal here is to create the shapes with the shading and value, not with any heavy lines. So now we're going to start building up the values, and for this step I'm only using one coloured pencil. So I've chosen a permanent red, but remember the actual colour doesn't matter here because this exercise is all about value, not about colour. And value just means how light or how dark something looks. I'm beginning with the darkest areas in the reference photo, and even though these are the darkest parts, I don't go in heavy right away. If I press too hard too soon, I'll flatten the tooth of the paper, and that just means I won't be able to add any more layers later. So instead I start with the light pressure and gently shading and covering the white of the paper. I like to use cross-hatching at this stage, and that's where you make lines in one direction and then go back over with lines in the other direction. And this helps the pigment sit evenly and covers the paper well. Once I'm confident that my edges are in the right place, then I press a little harder, and this lets me fill in most of the tooth of the paper and make the area look much darker and richer. I do the same thing just under the horn because that area has the same deep value as the top. Now if you look closely at the reference photo, you'll see that it's not just one solid block of dark colour. There's lots of softer, lighter shapes in the background. So to create that, I use small circular shading marks and I ease off the pressure in some areas. So this keeps a transition soft and helps to suggest those blurred shapes. If you find this tricky, an easier way is to practice with a black and white photo and a graphite pencil. So that makes it clearer to see the values, but using a colored pencil for this exercise is even better because it trains your eye to ignore all of the color that you can see and focus only on the lights and the darks. So that's the real secret to making your drawings look realistic. Now I'm going to continue working from the darkest areas towards the lighter ones, and this helps me to control all of my values and stops me from accidentally going too dark in places that should stay lighter. As I look carefully at the reference, I notice where the darkest marks and shadows sit. So the rhino horn is interesting because it has two very different textures. The horn itself is quite smooth, while the skin at the base is rough and cracked. It's important to show the difference in texture through the way that we shade. So I use slightly rougher, broken marks for the skin areas and smoother shading for the horn, so the viewer can feel the difference. Remember, value is all about pressure, so the harder I press, the darker the pencil looks, and the lighter I press, the lighter the shading. By changing the pressure, I can make the drawing look three-dimensional. Around the tip of the horn and underneath, there is a shadow with a bright rim of light just on the edge. It's important to leave that light area untouched. That's what makes the horn stand out clearly from the dark background. So at this stage, I'm not worrying about any tiny details yet. I'm simply blocking in the darkest areas with gentle shading and making sure that the big shapes are in the right place. So now that I've blocked in my darkest areas, I can begin working on the texture of the horn. So this part is all about careful placement of the marks. I always start light because if I make a mistake with the placement or the value, it's much easier to adjust. With coloured pencil, it's very hard to make something lighter once it's too dark, but it's always easy to go darker later. So to keep my marks soft, I hold my pencil quite loosely and further down the barrel and let my hand vibrate slightly as I shade. So this creates sketchy, broken lines that look like the rough surface and tiny patterns across the top of the rhino's horn. I also twist the pencil in my fingers as I work, and this keeps the point sharper for longer, so I don't have to stop and sharpen as often. When I need more control, for example, if I want to place a specific line or detail, I slide my grip up closer to the point of the pencil, and holding the pencil closer to the tip makes my hand stiffer, and that gives me more accuracy. I switch back and forth between these two ways of holding the pencil, depending on what I need. So right now I'm concentrating only on the first horn, slowly building the texture and checking my reference often. The key is to keep looking back and forth and making sure that every mark I add matches what I see. So this steady, careful process is what brings the drawing to life. Now I'm going back over the first horn to make sure that my darkest areas are really dark and as dark as they need to be. So this means that adding a few more layers and gradually increasing the pressure of my pencil. So remember, it's not about pressing as hard as possible straight away. It's about slowly building up the depth so that the darks feel solid and rich without damaging the paper. As I shade, I'm paying close attention to the shapes made by the shadows. So these shapes are what give the horn its form. So proportions are so important for realism. So keep checking back and forth between your drawing and the reference photo. If the shadows are in the wrong place, the drawing will look off, even if your shading is smooth. I also look carefully at the little dents, cracks and marks in the horn. So these are what give it that rough, weathered look. You don't need to copy every tiny detail exactly, but make sure that you include the ones that make the biggest difference to the texture. So think of it like choosing which pencil lines can tell the story best. Focus on the ones that help the viewer feel the surface of the horn. Take your time here. The most patient you are with these darks and textures, the more realistic and three-dimensional the final drawing will feel. So now I'm moving down into the textured skin below the first horn and onto the second one. I'm using the same loose hand technique as before, where I let my hand vibrate slightly to make quick broken marks. So this creates that rough, uneven skin texture that you can see in the reference photo. After that, I go back up into the background at the top of the drawing, and this area is out of focus in the photo, so I don't want any sharp marks here. Instead, I use lots of small circular shading motions, and this blends the pencil smoothly and helps it to suggest that the background is soft and blurred. As I keep building the drawing, I often spot areas that need adjusting. So maybe a shadow that could be a little bit darker or a shape that needs shifting. And that's completely normal. I like to think of the whole drawing as being unfinished until the very end. So as I work my way down, I also go back up, checking and adjusting as I go. So this back and forth process keeps everything balanced and makes sure that the values across the drawing work together as one complete picture. So now I'm working on the second horn. So this horn has very distinct shapes made by the shadows, and that's exactly what we need to recreate. Again, I'm varying my pressure to change the values, pressing slightly lightly for the lighter areas, and then a bit harder for the darker shadows. One important detail to remember here is the rim of light along the very top edge of the horn. So this thin light separates the horn from the background, and if I let my shadows touch the background, the edge would just disappear and the horn wouldn't stand out. So I make sure to keep that bright edge clean. I keep referring back to my reference image as I go, checking where the shadow falls and where to place each mark. So think carefully about your lights and your darks. Here's what gives the drawing its structure and its realism. Now that most of the texture is filled in, it's time to step back and look at the whole drawing, and this is when I go back over and double check my values. Are my darkest areas really dark enough? Are my lightest still bright? Do the shadows describe the form clearly? And adjusting these final details is what brings the study together. So when you're happy with your values across the whole piece, you can call it finished. Now, you might have faced some challenges along the way, and that's completely normal. If your darks don't look dark enough, then go back and add another layer with firmer pressure. Remember that the values only feel strong when you use the full range from light to dark. If your edges look too harsh, then try softening them with lighter circular shading to blend them into the background. And if you feel like you've lost a highlight, don't panic. You can gently lift some pigment with a kneadable eraser or simply darken around it to make the lighter area stand out again. So I hope you enjoyed working through this exercise with me. So let's take a moment to reflect on what we've practiced today. We've learned how to block in our darkest areas first, how to build the values gradually using light pressure, and how to use different marks like cross-hatching, circular shading, and sketchy broken lines to suggest both smooth and rough textures. We've also seen how important it is to leave rooms of light and highlights untouched because that's what makes the subject stand out from the background. The most important takeaway is that the value studies are not about perfection, but about training your eyes and hands to see and control light and dark. Every mark that you make builds your confidence, and every mistake is just another opportunity to practice problem solving. So keep doing studies like this. Even with just one pencil, the more comfortable you become with values, the stronger and more realistic your colored pencil work will be.